Well, I'm sorry since I could not complete the last video. Actually, there's a time limit. I could not record it beyond 30 minutes. So since it reached 30 minutes, it automatically stopped. So I had to make another video. In fact, I think I will be needing another couple of videos more to complete the poem. Anyway, so you are talking about the the way the villagers gathered, thronged near the poet narrator's house, and the poet narrator described their coming to that of the swarming of the flies. Now, from the very use of the word swarming, you can have an idea about the disapproval of the poet, about his abhorrence, about his anger towards the villagers. Since he's actually not the head of the family, he could not directly give a command, he could not directly tell them, he could not directly forbid them from coming. But he's actually not liking because he knows very well that instead of doing something meaningful, instead of rendering a scientific way of remedy, a scientific way of cure to his mother, the villagers will simply be talking all kinds of nonsense. That is, they will be talking about the superstitions and all that. And of course, he has hinted at that when he said that they buzzed the name of God to paralyze the evil one. So uh, the villagers, um, they actually are, you know, chanting the name of God. They're actually praying to God to paralyze the evil one. Here, the evil one, of course, refers to the scorpion. So, instead of, taking a good care of the wound, instead of, you know, um, doing something reasonable, they are actually, chanting the name of God. They are actually praying to God to, paralyze the evil one. Well, uh, uh, the villagers gathered with candles and with lanterns as if to dispel the evil with fire and light. As you know, that it is a common belief that you can dispel the evil with light. So, light is uh, um, indicative of, hope, hope. It is indicative of the power of God, as if with the light you can dispel the evil cast around you. uh, you know uh, so the villagers, instead of uh, adopting any scientific method of remission, the are chanting the name of God. The light of the candles and the lantern cast a giant shadow of the scorpion on the wall. The mud baked wall. As you know, I already have told it that the economic condition of the narrator is highlighted from the fact that they have, stocked the rice and grains in their house. Again, it is indicated by the fact that the walls of the narrator's house is not cemented. It is actually not cemented, but mud baked. The mud baked wall highlights the poverty of the poet's family. They are actually not very rich, but they're not from, he's not coming from a well to do family. Yes, but he's actually uh, from a middle class family. He's coming from a middle class family. The villagers searched for the scorpion, but in vain, and declared that with every move of the scorpion, the poison will spread in the mother's body. Now, see, this is again a kind of superstition that they're thinking, they're believing that we have to first stop the movement of the scorpion, because with every inch of the movement of the scorpion, with every move of the scorpion, the poison, you know, of the scorpion will be uh, spread uh, in the mother's body through the blood, since the poison is mixed with the blood, and with every move of the scorpion, it will be spread in the mother's body. The poet, in fact, uh, is casting serious aspersions, is actually criticizing vehemently, um, vehemently criticizing at the superstitious belief of the villagers, as the villagers, without showing genuine concern, without showing genuine concern and care for the poet's mother, they rather think that the pain of the mother is suffering because of the some kind of, you know uh, evil, uh, some kind of sin committed by the mother in his in her, I'm sorry, committed by the mother in her previous birth, and the pain of the mother would decrease the misfortune of her in the next birth. See, this is again a kind of, superstition that they are all believing in, what we call in Hindu uh, uh, belief, Hindu theology. We all believe about the karma fall, or what we call as the that uh, your suffering is actually because of the sin committed by you in the previous birth. You are actually suffering because you might have done something wrong in your previous birth. So it is all because of your, it is actually a result of the wrongdoings of you in the previous birth, kind of, karma fall, as you can say. So, the villagers think that the pain of the mother would decrease. So, the pain of the mother of the present birth would decrease the misfortune of the mother in the next birth. And the suffering of the mother will cleanse her soul, and the poison will purify her soul, and the poison will purify her place of desire. So the suffering will cleanse her soul, and the poison will purify her flesh of desire. The sheer insensitive attitude of the villagers and their ignorance made the narrator feel contemptuous of them. The more the crowds intensifies, the more the mother suffered due to the poison, as is evident from the lines. Well, now, um, as the poet disapproved the irrational behavior of the villagers who were quite uh, insensitive. I mean, uh, the word insensitive. Uh, well, I would like to, I rather would not like to use the word insensitive, because that's quite strong. That's a very strongly negative word. So yes, they are not insensitive, because had they been insensitive towards the mother, they would not have gathered in the narrator's house. So they were not insensitive, but um, they were actually not having, uh, you know, a good knowledge about the scientific way of treatment. They were actually oblivious of the fact that at this time the mother would be needing a proper treatment, and by chanting the name of God, or by talking about the next birth and all that, would not be, actually helping the mother. So they were oblivious of the fact. So I rather would not like to use the word insensitive. Yes, they are not insensitive. They are not insensitive towards the mother, but they were quite ignorant. Actually, they were actually uh, having a good knowledge. They were actually oblivious of the fact that the mother would be needing a good treatment. Well, uh, next, the poet talks about uh, his father. The father, uh, uh, the action of the father is, you know, suggestive of, you know, genuine care and concern of him for his wife. But the poet is also, uh, you know, highlighting another fact that, as I told you, the poet is actually covering each and every, is providing each and every detail of the thing, everything. I mean, the father's genuine care and concern is highlighted by the poet, but he is also not hiding the fact that the father is also not having the exact knowledge of treating his wife at this moment. He's not having exact, so he's trying everything under the sun to cure his wife. So of course he's not uh, 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 you know talking nuisance. Is actually not creating any nuisance like that of the villagers by talking about the god and by talking about the superstition. So he's trying his best to cure his wife from the suffering, but he's also having a good knowledge of how to treat her, and that is suggestive of the fact. My father, skeptic rationalist, trying every Carson blessing, powder, mixer, herb, and hybrid. So he's trying everything under the sun. He's trying Ayurveda, he's trying, homeopathy, he's trying allopathy, everything, I mean, as we can say. So all kinds of treatment without having a good knowledge about the proper treatment. He even poured a little paraffin upon the bitten toe and put a match to it. This is also indicative of the ignorance of the father. So, as I told you in the very beginning of my lecture, that the poem is actually about the perspective of the villagers, perspective of the mother, perspective of the father. And the poet, um, in one hand, he is appreciating the effort given by the father. He is appreciating the attempt made by the father to cure his wife. But on the other hand, he's also highlighting the ignorance of the father. That he poured paraffin and upon the bitten toe, and he put a match to it, as if he felt that, as if he believed, as if he felt that the fire would engulf the pain. Then, you know, by highlighting his father's attitude, the poet also nullifies the fact that poverty makes people ignorant and superstitious. Uh, yes, the father is ignorant, of course, and that is evident from the treatment rendered by him to his wife. But he's also not uh, completely superstitious, like that of the villagers. So there is a difference between that of the villagers and the father. So, you know, uh, he's not the father is actually not very unmindful, not very illogical. So he has some kind of sense, he has some kind of logic of treating uh, the patient, treating the victim in a better manner. The poet describes that, as I told you, that his father tried his best to cure his mother of the pain by applying herbs and paraffins. So he tried his best, but um, he actually did not actually, he did not uh, have an idea that if he would uh, apply fire on the bitten toe, then instead of, you know, instead of curing the mother of the pain, it would intensify, it would maximize the pain of the mother. The mother would be suffering more and more because of the because of the because of the burning, because of the burning wound the mother would be suffering more. So the fire would not engulf the poison. The fire would not, cure the mother. Rather, the burning, the you know, the fire the burning of the skin would intensify, would maximize, would double the pain of the mother. But the last three lines of the poem highlight the affection of the poet's mother to her son, to her child, because she said, "Thank God the scorpion picked on me and spared my children." I mean, so we from this we can understand that the poet narrator had siblings, because he's not a single child, but he had siblings. So the positive words of the mother touched the narrator's mind very much, because he witnessed, he saw how terribly his mother suffered. But even after suffering a lot, he could not forget to express his motherly affection for her children, towards her children. When the uh, when the pain uh, got lessened, when uh, his when the mother got relieved of the pain after 20 long hours of excruciating pain, finally she got some kind of relief. She got relieved from the pain after suffering a lot for 20 hours. And she said that she was happy and the scorpion spared her children, instead stung her. So, you know, um, a mother would always try to protect her children from all kinds of dangers, all kind of sufferings, and instead is ready to take the pain on behalf of her children, and instead is ready to endure the sufferings, the pain, but rather would not like her children to suffer. So that is actually, the affection of a mother. So to conclude, the poem is written in simple language. It is rich, and it is written in irregular rhyme pattern, and chiefly centered around the theme of attitude and perspectives. While the poet is disapproving of the superstition of the villagers, he is appreciative of his father. He is appreciative of his father's uh, logical attitude and irrationality. He's appreciating his father's rational thinking, rationality, and the poet, uh, the poet narrator, is angered by the bite of the scorpion, but as I told you, being a young boy, of course, he was very angry with the scorpion, but he has little bit of a tinge of sympathy for the scorpion, which is suggested by the line that he risked the rain again. He risked his life and came out in the rain. Um, so that's all about the poem Night of the Scorpion. I have tried to explain line by line. I have tried to uh, give a cross reference with other poems to uh, send to to help the learners understand the poem in a better manner. And finally, as I told you, it delivers a strong message to the society that however painful the suffering of a mother is, I mean, not however, I'm sorry, it delivers a message that in spite of the suffering of a mother, in spite of the suffering, in spite of the excruciating pain, in spite of the in spite of everything, the mother never forgets to show his affection, I'm sorry, show her affection, show her care, show her sympathy for her children. It also delivers a message that when one is suffering from scorpion bite or from other kind of bite like snake bite or other things, instead of uh, taking recourse to superstitious beliefs and all that, the right way to express sympathy, the right way to show sympathy, the right way to show genuine care towards the victim is by rendering a proper scientific treatment instead of um, talking about the superstitions and all that. So one has to be logical and rational and be devoid of all kind of superstitions and ignorance. That is actually the message that the poet is trying to deliver through the poem. So it is very rich and very beautiful and very powerful a poem. And I'm very happy that I have shared my knowledge with all of you. And stay tuned to get more updates, to get more videos of me about uh, different poems, to get more lecture videos on different poems and essays and dramas and novels and so on. So that's it. Thank you all once again, and good night to all of you, and God bless all of you. Thank you once again. Thank you.